So Kyle, man, what's happening?
Man, you looking at it, dude. That's pretty much where I stay. I'm in my garage right now. Uh, I'll go to work, come home, see the family, come out here in the garage and work some more.
Yeah, that's the American dream, brother.
That's it, man. Try and make it happen.
So, dude, I don't really know. I guess I graduated in 2007. I don't know. I probably saw you, I don't know, maybe at a party or something, probably in 2009 or so, but I don't think I've seen you since. So it's been close to a decade.
Yeah, I graduated in 2010. So yeah, I mean been right at a decade for sure.
Yeah, it's been a long time, man. How you been?
Man, I can't complain. I got a wife. Me and her been married going on 4 years now. I got a set of twins. They'll be 3 in May. I got a 7-year-old little girl. Just trying to take care of them, man. Keep the bellies full and the roof paid for. It's my priorities, man.
Yeah, I feel you. That's welcome to grown up life. You know what I
That's
mean?
it. And it happened quick. So
Yeah, some things do happen quick like that, man. I mean, and that's just anything in general in life, man. In a blink of an eye, something can
yep,
change.
yep.
Accident, injury, um, you name it, dude. Life changes quickly.
You're right, man. But I mean, for the most part, we're blessed. I have no complaints. Fortunately, my wife's been able to stay at home with the kids. Um, and here recently, she's been their teacher, their parent, their friend, everything. They've all been
Yeah.
trapped in the house together. But somehow she still has her sanity, so that's a plus.
Yeah, that you got a good one then. She must be patient like my wife. You know, my wife's a teacher, and I joke with her all the time. Like, I guess if you have the patience to deal with those kids, that's why you got the patience to deal with me.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know what they pay teachers, but they need to pay them double whatever they're making because I don't see how they do it.
Yeah, me neither. That's why I mess with her because I can be irritating sometimes, I'm sure.
Yeah, I do it purposefully too. So I get on a lot, but she takes it well. So I've got one of them old school wives. I come home, dinner's cooked, clothes are done. She sets all my stuff out for me when I get home. All my clothes are on the back of the toilet, ready for me to take a shower. She does everything but brush my teeth for me. So I for sure lucked up on that one.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I don't have the same luxury because my wife's at work all day. And some days I actually make it home before her, so we kind of go back and forth on the cooking and whatnot. Um, but yeah, man. So I wanted to ask you what you do for work nowadays. What you've been doing here recently?
I actually right out of high school, I went to college for fabrication. Um, and then right out of college, I turned around and got into apprenticeship with Local 43, pipe fitting apprenticeship. So I done 5 years of my apprenticeship, and I've been topped out for a little over 2 years, I guess. So going on 3 years. So I'm a pipe fitter. I'm a welder.
So I guess for people that don't know, can you kind of explain what a pipe fitter does and what you guys produce for? So if you guys fit pipes and you weld those pipes up, who does the company distribute them for? What do you make them for? Things like that.
Um, it very rarely do we have far like assembly line work where we do it in the shop and send it somewhere. We kind of do like big chemical plants, industrial plants. We've got a plumbing side too, so anything plumbing wise up under your house, we do it. We'll do copper. For instance, we do like Volkswagen. I've done work at Volkswagen, power plants, Jack Daniel distillery, Coca-Cola distillery, um, paper mills. I've been to a lot of paper mills. I've actually been to Air Force bases, done Air Force bases. So anything that if pipe or a chemical or liquid runs through it, pipe wise, we do it. Chillers, air handlers, anything really.
Okay, so y'all don't weld stuff in house and then ship out like certain pieces to industrial plants and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, we do. We'll have like some stuff we do is pretty dangerous, it's chemical wise. So the longevity of the pipe is might be 10 years, so it's rotting out or leaking or something. So we have an engineer go in there, or even we do it sometimes, measure up the pipe, and they translate it into isometric drawing. Return the shop turns isometric drawing into pipe, and then we got a crew that will take it to the chemical plant and install it. But for the most part, it's all on the job. We'll order all the materials to the job, fab it on the job, and do it all there.
Okay, so I guess if you went to college, how'd you get into the apprenticeship program? Did somebody recommend you, or was there like I don't know what they call them, like job fairs or something at the school you were going to? How'd you get tied into?
Actually, my uncle is a master plumber. He went through the same program, and he worked for Jake Marshall, which is who I work for. And like I said, I was in college, and he called me one day, and he's like, "Hey, do you want a job?" And I kind of seen it as an opportunity, so I quit my job that day, and I worked there for probably 3 or 4 months, and talked to people. I got hired in as a helper, non-union. So I was bottom of the barrel, cleaning toilets, sweeping the floors, and got to talking to the workers there, and they told me about the hall and the apprenticeship. And I actually worked there for 2 years before I got into the apprenticeship, and then I got accepted into the program.
Okay, so the apprenticeship, you said it was 5 years?
Yes, sir. 5 years.
Dang, that's pretty good. That's a long haul. That's more than like trying to think of how long like an electrical apprenticeship is, because I know there's companies that do that. They'll hire them on. They start them out at like $9 an hour. They're just a laborer, so they're just pulling
Right.
wires through studs and whatnot. And
Yeah.
then they give them like $1 bump and raise every so many months or
Yeah.
so, and then they do their journeyman's test and everything, get certified and whatnot.
Right.
So 5 years is a long haul. Did you have to sign a I think I lost
Hold
it. No, you're
Yeah.
good. Um, do you have to sign like an agreement with them for the apprenticeship? You're going to put in, dedicate so many years.
Yeah, it's a see the UA, which is the United Association. That's our union name. We're like electricians. They got the IBW, and then you have like different groups of different unions, and yeah, you pretty much sign an agreement because they're paying for your schooling. There's a lot of training that's involved. There's a lot of stuff that they'll bring people outsiders in to do to teach you, and it's also accredited to Chattanooga State. Once you finish your 5-year apprenticeship, I think you get 32 credit hours towards Chattanooga State if you wanted to go back for engineering or something in that matter,
Yeah.
mechanical wise. You could go back, and it's actually, they give you credits towards that. So yeah, it is once you get in, it's a legal binding document. If you do drop out, they can sue you for there's an X amount of price they charge per semester that they actually pay. So if you drop out, they'll get their money.
Okay, so if you complete the apprenticeship program, day of completion, are you still under like a contract that you have to give them 2-3 year return on investment since they have invested time and money and effort into you?
Yeah, it's 5-year apprenticeship, 5 years after. So 10 years gets you fully invested.
Okay, and is that a union at that point?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, as soon as you get in the hall as a first year apprentice, you're a union member. You're a dues paying member.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So it's kind of, and after your 10-year mark, that's when you're fully vested. So that's when that's kind of where they get some of these guys where they might come do 5, 6, 7 years and then drop out. Well, everything you've paid into your pension and benefits is gone. It's null and void. You lose it all. So 10-year mark, you're fully vested.
Okay, I guess I'm a little ignorant on how. I mean, I understand the general concepts of union work and what a union is, but I wasn't in the I guess in the market for certain jobs and whatnot for too long because I ended up joining the service. So everything I've
Uh,
done for the last 10 years has just been focused on, what the government does. So I've never really paid attention to unions and everything. So if you get if you get 10 years in, when you say, I guess the term vested, does that mean somebody can draw a pension at 10 years, but it's just really small?
yeah, we work off a credit system. So um, if you work 40 hours all year, you'll get a credit. And that credit is worth X amount of money towards your pension. So let's say you work, and I'm not sure how much a credit is. I'm wanting to say it's around $60 or $70 a credit. So if you work 30 years and you've got 30 credits, then if it's worth $70, then that's $2,100 a month you'll draw in your pension.
Okay. And that's for life?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's when you retire. And the way the retirement is, it's kind of confusing, but your age and your time spent in the trade have to equal 90, if that makes sense.
Okay. Is that years as far as your age and then years? No, that can't be. That'd be a long time.
It's like I had it figured out. I'd say you get in at 20 and you work till you're 55. So you've got 35 years you've worked. So 35 plus 55 is 90. So you could retire at 55 and draw a UA pension.
Okay, I got you.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so the service they changed the way that their pension plans work in 2018. January 1st of 2018, they changed what their pension plan was and reduced the pension plan and started a 401k because
Uh,
they tried to do it to benefit themselves in the long run, but to benefit people in the short term too. Because what the service wasn't doing up until 2018 was they weren't providing 401k programs or nothing. You only had a pension plan, that was it. So a lot of people join the service, they're one timer or two timer contracts, and then they get out and that's it. So they didn't want to. They found a way. I feel, anyways, they found a way to reduce the pension plan for people that stayed in to 20 years or whatever, and then tried to draw a retirement because they were paying out so much money to so many people. They found a way to cut that back, but they also found a way in the short term to do a 401k plan for people that only did 3 or 4 years, and that way when a soldier was to get out, they would actually have some kind of money to fall back
I got you.
instead of walking away with nothing. So I'm grandfathered in the old pension plan, and the way it's set up for us is I get 50% of whatever my we call it base pay because I have a couple other pays that they give me.
Right.
Since we don't live where we want to live, they give us a housing stipend, and then they provide us like a meal thing. But we have a base pay based on your rank, and mine's 50% of whatever my base pay is the day I retire. Is kind of how the service works.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, and like us too. If we work a shutdown or something, I mean, it's assholes and elbows till we get it done. You're liable to work 7 14-hour shifts, for a month or two at a time. So you will get, if most time I don't work just 40 hours. So I'm liable to get a credit and a half, 2 credits a year, depending on what we work,
Yeah, that's amazing. And that just means that you can start drawing your retirement sooner because you're adding on what'd you call them? You're adding on the points.
Well, they call it credit, but no, you can't retire. No, you can't retire no sooner. You still your age and service have to equal 90.
Sure, but if you're working a bunch of overtime and you're getting more credits, then you can
Right.
theoretically you can retire at a younger age because you're trying to offset your credits versus your age, correct?
No, it's just you just building up what more of money that you would draw when you retired.
Okay.
So it's still that. So it's really, in theory, it's a young man's game. You get in young, you stay working, stay healthy, and you might be able to retire early if you play your cards right. But if you get in and you're 40-year-old, and it's kind of the trade can be rough, on older guys. So, like I said, I enjoyed it. I've been in it for going on 10 years now, and it's been a good trade. As far as the benefits, I've got, insurance. My contractor pays my insurance. Being married with 3 kids, that definitely helps.
Oh yeah, that's a big expense, especially when we're about to go back to what Obamacare used to be. Um,
Yeah.
it was expensive, so yeah, healthcare is a big thing to get through an employer for sure.
Yeah, and it is, man, and that keeps me from, if I go somewhere else and have to pay for my insurance, I mean that's 150 a week for a family plan easily.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. So I guess to close the conversation we were having, so in the service with the old pension plan, somebody could theoretically, you can join at 17 with parents' consent. So somebody could join at 17, do the 20 years, which is the minimum time to retire, to draw a pension from the service, and they could theoretically be 37, 38 years old and retire. And
Okay.
they start drawing that money day one. You don't have to wait till you're 55 or 65 to get that money. You can get it right then and there. And then for every year that you do over 20, you get 2.5% of your base pay for retirement. So if 20 years you get 50%, you do 21, you're at 22.5, and then it just
Okay.
goes up from there.
I
So
got you.
a lot of people do. I've seen a good amount of people do 30 years, so they're getting 70% and kind of hanging it up from there. 30 years is a long time.
It is in anything. Yeah.
In
Yeah.
anything,
Sure.
30 years is a long time. And like you said, I mean, depending on what they do in the service, I mean, it can be rough. It can be physically demanding
Yeah.
on somebody's body. So,
Yeah. And you got Social Security. You can't draw it to, is it 67 now? So,
yeah, I think it's 67.
I mean, if you retire, then that is one of the downfalls of the Hall, that once you retire, they don't cover your insurance no more, which is something I don't agree with. A man was to work for this local for all these years, and then when he's done, they drop him off his insurance. So as you're older, you're 55, 60-year-old, and you go shopping for insurance. Well, I'd say it's pretty expensive.
Yeah, pretty expensive. And then you're trying to live on retirement, which is less than what you would have been making if you were still working.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I guess that's why. I mean, and I'm sure you have. I mean, you're a smart guy and got into a good trade and everything. That's why investment's big when you're young too. So you get compound interest and you got something else to fall back on.
Right.
Um, I've tried. I mean, I don't have tons of money, but I've tried to put money into a retirement account and to put money into like mutual funds and different
Yeah.
things. And in my head, I tell myself I have no retirement.
Yeah.
That pension isn't there, and I try to save up money to be like, hey, this is the money I got to fall back on. And then if I'm fortunate enough, if God finds it in my best interest for me to make it long enough to get a pension plan, then that's just extra icing on the cake in my mind.
Right.
But I act like and I treat like that pension plan doesn't exist because it's not guaranteed. I could drive out of my driveway tomorrow and get hit by a car. So
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's easy to put it in there. It's hard to leave it in there. You got to be disciplined.
yeah, yeah, that's another thing, man. I got there, man. I was in that vicious cycle when I was in my early, even mid 20s, man. I'd get a little savings. I'd get $3,000 to $5,000 in my savings account, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you know what, man? I want a
Yeah.
gun. I want a new rifle
Hmm.
or whatever. I pull the money out and everything, and that savings account just fluctuated all the time, and I never got
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until I started cutting it off the top where I set up allotments to come out of my check into different accounts before I got paid.
Yeah.
So once I started cutting it off the top, and then whatever I got in my checking account was what I had to live on, and I just had to tell myself the rest of that money doesn't exist. It wasn't until then that I actually started to gain traction.
Right. And I kind of do the same thing. I kind of got, I was invested in the stock market a little bit here and there. It was kind of just a 50, 60 buck a week kind of thing, and then it kind of escalated. It got addicting. It was like, to me, it was kind of like gambling, but it wasn't, it was, I lost some, but I came out ahead for the most part. I kind of, since we got our new president, I kind of cashed out and I'm sitting on it now. Just to see where things are going to go. So, but I'm going to get back in it. I'm just trying to pick the right time to do so.
Does I'm sure they do. The company offers 401k plan, right?
No, you got to take out your own.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why I say you got to be, kind of disciplined to do it. But yeah, I'd rather have a 401k honestly than a pension.
Yeah. I mean, it really just depends, man. I mean, so that was kind of I was, and a bunch of people found themselves in that situation in the service when they started making it, introduced the new pension plan in 2018. If you were in the old pension plan, you could opt into the new one. They just reduced the amount they would pay you and offered a 401k plan. So then you had to determine, do I want to opt into this and lose my percentage for a less percentage? And I kind of had to do some bro math on it and figure out, was it worth it to me to stay vested in the old, grandfathered in the old retirement? And always came back to, man, if it's this higher amount and I get paid this money for the rest of my life, that's, to me, it was worth it in
Yeah.
that regard. So I mean, it kind of sucks that we don't have a 401k plan, but they have a retirement plan, and I put 10% into that retirement account every check.
Right.
And then I have like a small allotment. It's not much. It's only like $200 a month, and it goes into a separate checking account. And then from that account, I have two other investments that just pull like $100 into each one's. One's in stocks,
Right.
the other's in bonds. And then I have my 10% going in retirement, and that's just how I've always done it.
Yeah, I kind of got like my investing app. I got it set up. It takes 20 a week right out of my bank account right off the rip. And then I've also got my checking set up to every time I slide my debit card, it takes $1 out of my checking and puts it in my savings. So even, just use your card 3 or 4 times a day. Yeah, it don't sound like much, but over time it does add up, especially it's in such little amounts. You really don't notice it until you go back and look at it and you're like, damn, I slid my debit card 320 times in 2 months, So it also helped me track my spending, and why the hell am I swiping my debit card, that many times in a month?
Yeah, that's how that I think it's Acorn. Acorn rounds up to like the nearest dollar and invests the change or something like that.
Right.
So that's
No, this just go. I tried that route when I first got into investing, and I didn't like it because you couldn't pick what you wanted to invest in. You just picked like, I guess what kind of risk level you wanted. If you wanted conservative, or if you wanted risk, a high risk, you could just put it in a category and they invested it for you. And I didn't like that, so I pulled out of it, and I use Stash now. I got Stash, Robinhood, and Coinbase. I'm getting into the crypto right now. I'm just now getting into it, so
we'll see how in the Robinhood about 2 years ago, I put, I think, $10 into that Dogecoin.
Yeah,
and I'm up like 200 and something bucks.
Right. Oh, hold on.
Hey, you're fine.
There we go.
It does it if you get text messages and whatever.
No, my battery's 20%.
Oh, okay.
We're good.
You have to tell me when it tells you 10%, and we'll cut it off.
It might have said 10%. I cleared it, and it might have said 10%. But if you lose me, that's why.
Yeah. Well, before we lose you, I mean, don't tell people exactly where you live, but you're a huge Tennessee fan. Do you live on the Tennessee side, or you live in Georgia?
Unfortunately, Georgia.
Dang, man, I thought you would have
It's
moved to Tennessee.
man, I wanted to, but I don't know. I got my family's all down here, and you know, I'd rather be around them than away from them. So
Yeah, I hated Georgia though because they took state taxes from me.
yep, yep, and you get a small percentage back,
Yeah,
very
it's
small.
like 10% if you're lucky.
Yeah, yeah,
It's very small.
for sure.
Um, so how long you had when you had your place built, was it a did the builder already have a plan set and you guys just picked out all the stuff as far as siding and whatnot, or was it a lot and you said what plans do you have and y'all got to pick the layout and so on and so forth?
Yeah, they had we was open to property. We really didn't know exactly where we wanted to live. We just wanted a house built. So he pretty much said, "Well, hey, follow me over here. I got a few lots, and we like what we saw." And he told me any floor plan you want, pick it out, make your own changes to it. And me being kind of in my job, I work with stuff being in squares and perfectly, measurements and everything and scale rule and all that. So I went on Google and found 3 or 4 different houses I liked and kind of put them together and made my own, done my own drawing and sent it to his architect, and they made it a house.
Yeah, man, that's great. Is that your first house that y'all bought, or were you living somewhere and this is the kind of the second or the third home you got to move into?
Yeah, this is the third home we've lived in. Second one we bought. The first one we rented in Fort O, and then we moved to Flintstone, bought that house, and then sold it, and then now we live in Rock Spring.
Yeah, Rock Springs a good area. You zone for Heritage.
Yep, Heritage and Wood Station
Yeah,
Elementary.
that's a good area to be in, man.
Right.
Yeah, it's a really good area. We kind of did the same thing. We bought our first house. I don't know, I might have been 24, maybe 23. Um, it was my first house, man. I'm like, how much is it? How much is it going to cost me? How much money do I make? So I was real worried and wanted to make sure that I had money for this and money for that. So I bought an older house. We only paid like $73,000 for it.
Uh,
And it was like an old fixer upper. And we went that route. And then we sold it and we moved. Service moved us out here and we bought another house. We lived in it for about 2.5 years. And I was looking for property. I'd have money saved up and stuff. I was like, man, I want to move out somewhere away from people. I'm tired of hearing dogs barking and doors
yeah.
shutting and this and that. And had HOA and whatnot. So we found this property and it's actually the first day looking. I had 4 places picked out. We went with the realtor and looked at them. We came here. This was the last one and we walked it. And I looked at her and she looked at me and I said, babe, I think this is it. And the owner actually was around the corner. He came over here and I told him, hey man, I like the place. You're wanting this. I'm willing to give you this, and I'll give you cash. And the guy said, sounds like a fair deal to me. He was an older
Oh,
guy.
yeah.
Shook his hand, and 2 weeks later, it was mine.
Hell yeah, man. You can't beat that. We kind of had a wild ride, which I don't know if you talked to him anymore, but Brian Russell actually sold my first house right in the middle of a pandemic. So hats off to him. He done an excellent job, him and his wife. I think he sold it for me, and his wife client bought it from her. So that kind of worked out for him. But yeah, I actually, as soon as I sold my house, like 2 days later, my boss called me and they had to furlough me. So I lost my job and sold my house within 2 days, and I moved in with my in-laws for about 3 weeks. They were still building the house, and that's when unemployment was at an all-time high. And I called my finance guy, and he's like, you can't draw unemployment because unemployment's not considered an income. If you draw unemployment, you're not going to apply for, you're not going to get the loan for your house pretty much. So I had to go find a job, and luckily I got a job at a hot rod shop doing fabrication on cars, high-end cars, and that was enough to get us into the house. And then as soon as we closed on the house, my job called me back. So it was kind of, I had to jump through some loops, you know, lost my fingernails from biting them during the situation, you know, pulled some hair out, but it all worked out.
Yeah, man, that's part of life, dude. I've been there. Just somehow, if you live right and you do things the way you should, I feel like whether you believe in God or not, somebody watches out for you, because
Somebody, man,
I've been in a bunch of situations where I'm like, I don't know how we got through that and how this money and stuff came to be about, but we made it, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, man. So we were talking earlier. You're talking about doing some fabrication. You trying to work on vehicles and do your own thing, or how are you trying to do that?
Yeah, I'm trying to. Right now, it's just kind of a side hustle. I enjoy doing it. You know, that's kind of my peace of mind. I'll get out here and turn some loud music on and make a lot of noise, throw a lot of sparks. But yeah, for the most part, not really like mechanic work. I don't enjoy mechanic work as far as like diagnosing why something's doing what it's doing. But yeah, custom fabrication is what I enjoy doing.
As far as fabricating the look of the car, so you don't want to do like motor work, transmission work, stuff like that. You just want to mess with the way the car looks more or less.
Yeah, pretty much. You know, older vehicles tend to have rust spots, you know, cab corners rusted out, floor pans rusted out, cut it out, replace it, building turbo kits, running hot side and cold side turbo kits, custom. And that's to do with pipe fitting too. You know, you're running pipes in a car theoretically. Building headers. Like I said, I got a buggy over here I'm working on, doing tube work. Just anything, I'm doing all the floors on it, mounting the seats, you know, mounting radiators, and wherever you want, whatever it is, you know, I want to be able to put it there. And eventually I want to start progressing into the paint work and pretty much being a one-man wonder, being able to do everything.
So besides doing it for yourself, you've done, you know, side jobs and stuff over time here and there?
Yeah. Like I said, I was grateful enough to get in with that hot rod shop, and I'm one of them. I'm kind of nervous to try stuff. You know, I get too comfortable. I don't really like to venture out. And when I got that job there, I showed myself I could do what I thought I couldn't do. You know, I kind of surprised myself, and then I enjoyed it. It didn't feel like I was at work. You know, it felt like I was at home in my garage, just by myself. You know, I just liked the way it felt. I didn't dread going to work. You know, I was up hour and a half early, ready to go. You know, and it's, you know, if I could do that for a living for myself, then I'll never work a day in my life again. So, you know, maybe it might not turn into nothing, but you know, it definitely won't turn out to nothing if I don't try. So, might as well make it worth my while.
Exactly, man. Have you thought about, you know, I know you said you're doing it on the side and whatnot, but have you thought about, you know, coming up with like a name, like a business name, and making, you know, getting some way of, I don't want to say advertising and promoting for yourself, because, you know, getting started out, especially, you're going to have to keep doing what you're doing. You know, you're going to have to do it on the side and whatnot until business picks up and you get to a certain level to where you're like,
Right.
it's time to, you know, do this full time. But have you started looking at that avenue of, hey, what am I going to call this? You know, what kind of logo scheme am I going to have? Things like that.
Yeah, I've actually already got a name. I've got a logo, and I actually just had some stickers made too, just for me and some buddies. You know, just throw it on the back glass of your car and ride around town with it. And I'm not real technical, I guess, like on computer wise. I want to make a business page on Facebook. But I don't know, as far as I want to be professional about it. And then as far as like sounding professional on a computer is kind of not my thing. So I'm looking for somebody to do that. I think I've actually got one of my stickers right here in my garage. Yeah, that's, where's my camera at? Yeah, that's one of them I had made. But it's called Mended Metal Works.
Yeah, I see it.
So there should be a Facebook page up for it here shortly.
Yeah, man, you'll have to send it to me when you get it up and running so I can put it in the description of this thing here.
Sure, man. Will do. I want to do it, I guess. In my mind, I'm just scared of failure, probably like everybody else. Nobody wants to fail at anything, but I'm kind of just like, screw it. I ain't got nothing to lose.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, what we're doing now. I'm doing this more to catch up with people,
Right.
like you and I went to the same school, grew up in the same area. We played football and stuff together. But I don't live in that area anymore. I don't have the luxury of living there unless I want to get out of the service, which at this point, 10 years in, it's not looking like something I'm going to be doing. I'm trying to, stay in for 20 and retire. So I have to live and go where I want, but I still, there's something special about that area. It's a tri-state area, like being able to be in Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, downtown Chattanooga being what it is. You got mountains, you got the river, you got creeks, it's just something about that area is great, man. And I miss it.
Yeah.
I miss the people that I grew up around and got to bond with and whatnot, the camaraderie that I had. Not that I don't get it now, but it's not the same. I don't know if people feel the same way I do, but going through certain things and being that age and whatnot, it's just hard to get as an older individual. You just don't,
Right.
you don't make the same friends. You don't make the same bonds. I have made bonds, but they're few and far between. And they're a lot of times not as strong as bonds as I've made with people that I grew up with.
I
So
understand that completely, man. Yeah, for sure. I don't plan on going anywhere. Like I said before, I really don't like change. I'm scared of change. Honestly, I kind of get set in my ways and I want to keep them that way. But I'm trying to break that habit. Like I said, with me trying to start my own thing, I'm trying to venture out. And then, like I said, I still got a year and a half or so before I'm fully vested in my career choice. So I can do this, try to ramp it up. And I don't want to have wasted time in my career choice. So I might as well go ahead and get fully vested and try to do this. And maybe it'll ramp up and be something, in a year or two.
yeah, I hope so, man. You know, again, like people might watch I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just a normal guy.
Exactly.
I'm not I might get better over time. This is not something I'm super comfortable with either. Um, just like I have a page like you're talking about, but I'm not super computer savvy. I just got on there and tried to make something happen. And it's the same thing with these videos, man. I'm not some people might watch it and I might look retarded. I'm my worst critic. So when I watch my own video, I can't even watch my own videos because I'm like, man, I look stupid and I sound stupid.
I'm the same way, man. I'm the same way. But hell, I mean, shit, you might be the next Joe Rogan. You don't know. Hell.
Yeah, I highly doubt it, but
I mean, he started somewhere. I mean, he didn't start with Dana White, talking to him in a basement somewhere. I mean, you got to start somewhere.
yeah, everybody's got to start somewhere, man. And like you said, it's not going to get anywhere unless you try. So again, like for this, I just did it I figured, hey man, I call people from time to time, or people call me and it's like, oh, I ain't heard from you in so long, just calling to check in. And I'm like, what more fun could it be to just do the same thing but record it,
Right. Right.
and then I'll put it online. If somebody watches it, great. If they don't, whatever, man.
And man, it was crazy because I was watching the one that you and Alex done, and that dude's funny. But anyway, I was watching that one, and I was like, man, that'd be pretty cool, man. Maybe he'll ask me to be on there. I'd like to do one with him. And dude, it wasn't 2 days later, you messaged me. I was like, dang. I ain't talked to him in 10 years, and then he just all of a sudden,
Well, dude, I might be a strange breed or a weird, person to what other people do. But if you and I were friends then, like maybe I have a childish mind. I don't know. I still look at it in the same way.
Yeah.
And we did our 10-year high school reunion. And Alex was there, and he was asking me about Randy Roden, because I'd went and talked to his attorneys and his lawyers, and was going to fly out to Oregon, and I was going to do all these things for Randy. And he was like, man, I heard this and I heard that, and that's great and whatever. And I told Alex, like, hey man, you and I were really good friends. I consider you, like a brother. I've known Alex since we were in kindergarten. And I said, dude, I would be there doing the same thing for you, just like I'm doing for Randy,
Yeah.
And again, maybe I'm childish or just have a childish mindset, but if I'm friends with somebody and bond with somebody and I respect them, just like now, 12 years can go by and I still think of it the same way that it was. Like,
right. Yeah.
Yeah. So
if
just
nobody
how
gives you a reason to think otherwise, then I'm the same way. If somebody hasn't done me wrong, or pretty much shit in my face, then I'm the same way. If you called me right now and said, hey dude, my car broke down, I'd get my truck and I'd be on my way.
Yep. And I don't know why more people aren't like that.
That's what's wrong with the country, really. It's all about me and what can you do for me, not what can I do to help.
Yep. Sometimes I find myself sitting back, kind of looking at things, and I ask myself if I'm retarded. I'm like,
Yeah.
am I the retarded one in this scenario? Because I'm looking around and I feel like a bunch of these people are remedial, but maybe I'm remedial,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah.
it's me.
Yeah. And that's my wife. My wife's cutthroat. She don't give a shit. I mean, I'm more conservative in that aspect. I'm kind of she tells me I let people walk all over me, and I agree to too much stuff that I shouldn't, and pretty much the same thing you was talking about. I'll drop what I'm doing to help somebody else. And she's like, you need to learn to tell people no, but I just can't. I wasn't born that way, man. I've been like this my whole life, but she don't care. She'll tell you hell no in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I find myself getting older, having to put up with stuff that 10 years ago I wouldn't have put up with.
Right.
And I hired some people to help me build a fence, and the guy that owns the company, him and I were talking out here kind of on the similar thing earlier today. And I was like, man, I put up with stuff and do things now that I would have never done when I was younger, but I have more to lose now.
Yeah.
And the way society has gotten is you might be ostracized and fired for some stupid crap. Like,
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous, man. What you do in your personal time's got nothing to do with the business.
Yeah.
But they tend to do that to people nowadays, and it just makes no sense. You don't have. You're kind of losing, the way I see it. We're kind of losing freedom of speech to a certain level, because you can't go out and say or do certain things because somebody might tell your supervisor, or you can't say or like or do something on social media because it's going to come back to cost you in the end. And it's just, I don't know, man. I'm rambling on some crazy stuff, but it's ridiculous.
I mean, I agree. I know some people personally that has lost their job over stuff that they have posted on Facebook, and I ain't gonna say no names or what was posted, but
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. That what you do on social media can affect your livelihood.
And that's insane. Like,
It's insane, man.
if you think about that, that is crazy. Like, hey, did the individual break a law? Did they go to jail? So on and so forth. If none of that stuff happened, what's the problem?
what's the problem? You know,
What's the
that's
problem? If I don't like the color brown, who is anybody else to hate on me for that or
right,
fire me?
right,
Oh, he can't work here anymore because he don't like colors of brown. Like,
right. And
you, man.
that's why I keep my mouth shut, man. I post stuff about cars, and I'll post pictures of my family every now and then, but I try to keep my political views off of social media, just because you can't have a discussion with anybody anymore. Everything is an argument, and everybody wants to try to make you think the way they think, and that's just not how it works. It's more of a turns into a cussing, and you know, trying to persuade me to think the way you think, and no two people think alike. So you can't really debate. It's more people arguing and get mad, and just pull a bunch of different cards that don't need to be pulled. So I just kind of, I don't know. I sit in my chair and keep to myself.
And I don't say, I wouldn't say I don't get mad because I get mad too, man. I'm a human being like everybody
Yeah.
else. But people get mad so quickly now and they shut down.
Yeah.
And conversation kind of doesn't really happen anymore. And I don't say I don't have the answers to everything, but I just use like a common sense approach. I'm like, you want to do this, but here are the results of it. Is it worth it? Like, where's the pros and cons?
Exactly.
How do you weigh this thing out to see what's the benefit versus the risk? What's the reward at the end of the day? And if it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense.
I agree. No,
And when I see choices and decisions being made, and I'm like, why would you ever have thought this was a good idea? I don't know.
yeah, yeah. That's why I'm just like, okay, man, you think like that, that's good. We don't agree, I'm gonna go on about my way. That's why I don't like, if I want to argue with somebody, I want to do it in person. That way, if I want to go back and smack you, I can. I don't. That's kind of my point on it.
Yeah, well, that was a thing. Me and the guy's name was Andy. He was helping me build the fence, and I was like, man, 12 years ago, 14 years ago, I would have slapped a bunch of people. But nowadays, man, I have things to lose. Then
Yeah,
if somebody wanted to sue me or whatever, like, what are you going to do? Take my 96 Dodge Ram that I have that I paid
exactly.
$1,500 for? Get it,
Yeah,
dude. But
yeah,
nowadays, it's just you got a family, you got other people, you got kids that rely on you. You're their livelihood, so you can't. I find myself biting my tongue a lot nowadays and not doing this or not doing that because I have more to lose. And it's sad to think that you have to live your life that way. And I don't want to say in fear because I'm not scared, but it's just like I have to think about my actions more because of what could happen.
right. Yeah,
Um,
of course. I mean, I think the same way. And unless you mess with my family or me personally, I really don't care. You know, I think the last time I actually got an altercation was with a guy in the Sam's Club parking lot. Uh, he about T-boned me in the middle of the parking lot, and I jumped at the car at him and grabbed his arm and was going to pull him out of the car, and he took off. You know, but that's because he about hit the car on my wife's side of the car, and it pissed me off. But yeah, I don't get like that too much. There ain't too much that stirs me up. I'm pretty level headed.
oh, I still get really mad on the inside. Just nobody knows it on the outside. My face might tell a tale, um, but I don't. Like I said, I can't really act on it anymore.
Well,
I'm sure I,
I've seen you on the football field. I've seen you mad.
I'm sure I get that look, and people see it in my face, like I think this guy's about to try to kill me. But
Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm thinking. I just don't act on the that thought.
yeah. And I've had people come up to me before and was like, "Man, you just look like an asshole." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, just looking at you. Like I don't even want to talk to you because you just look like a dick." And then they get to talking to me and know he's like, "Man, you're pretty cool, dude. You're not an asshole at all." I'm like, "No, I'm really a kind of like a chihuahua, I guess. I ain't shit."
Yeah. I just got that old resting bitch face, I guess. I
That's
don't
it.
know.
That's it, man. Yeah.
I don't know if I ever asked you before. So you got a Fox body Mustang.
Yes, sir.
So I had a 1990 GT convertible and that was my very first car I ever had in life, and I still think about it to this day.
Yep. If I haven't met a person that's not regretted selling a Mustang, so that's my advice to you. If you get another one, don't sell it.
What year is the one behind you?
It is a '93 coupe car.
It's slick, dude.
Appreciate it. That's why I don't have no money in the bank. That's where my money goes.
93 coupe, man.
Yeah.
There's something about it, dude. But I wrecked mine. It was raining, and I turned right where this gas station was, where a bunch of 18-wheelers come in and out. So there was like gas and oil all on the road, and it was pouring down rain. And when I turned, I gave it a bit of gas. It went sideways, and then I overcorrected on the steering wheel. And then when it went the other way, it grabbed the road, and I went straight off into the trees.
Yep. And it's easy to do. I've been there and done that. I actually hit a telephone pole on 341. I don't know if you remember 341 much, like coming through Wallaceville.
Yep.
Like heading towards Flintstone.
Mm-hmm.
I was passing the foot of Mountain View subdivision. There's some little S curves there, and some old girl's driveway was washed out, I guess, and I hit the gravel and hit a telephone pole. Yeah, I've wrecked a few, sold a few, had kids, had to get rid of the one I had, but I'm slowly getting what I had back.
Well, I mean, it's not necessarily a bad thing. You got a really nice Fox body Mustang now, and then you're working on a buggy, and
Thank you.
you got a wife and kids and a nice house. So
Oh yeah, man, I can't. My family is, I just love them. I mean, I got healthy kids; they're all happy. I got a great wife. I got a great life. So I mean, there's no complaints on my end at all.
well, you're getting blessed because you live in the Bible Belt. You know what I mean?
That's it. Yeah, it's yep. I wouldn't say I'm a diehard Republican, but I agree with most of it that goes on down here.
Yeah, the Bible Belt is a great place to be, man. And I'm not saying I've traveled a many of places and I know a lot, but I've been a bunch of places where I didn't like being.
Right.
So there's just nothing like the South, man. You nod your head, you say thank you, you acknowledge people.
Right.
People say hey back, and
Well, I had to disagree there a little, because if you're covered in tattoos and you're wearing a short sleeve shirt, it's more the effect of women will cover their purses and make sure their kids are right by their side when you walk by. So I actually had a guy tell me that, when I started on my sleeves. He said, you go from the elbow down. He said, people start looking at you different. And some do, a lot of them don't, but I have seen it, people don't hold the door open for you, or like I said, they'll make sure the kid's right beside them, or if you're walking up, they'll lock their car 7 times, make sure the doors is locked. So, but they could just be an asshole. So
yeah, and I've seen it. I've seen it kind of both ways. It depends on. There's a couple of other factors into it. Location is another one.
yeah.
But I think around the kind of the Bible Belt, us being country rednecks, what the rest of the country want to call us.
Yeah.
Is, if you look that way, they just kind of assume like, hey man, this guy works in some kind of a trade thing. He either drives a jacked up truck or a muscle car, and he probably gets into things that he shouldn't be getting into.
Right.
That's not always the case. That is a majority of it.
Yeah.
That's how I would stereotype certain people
Yeah.
too. I wouldn't. I mean, I don't know, man. I've had I don't know. I've had some weird interactions with some weird people that I was like, couldn't tell if they were gonna rob me or what. So
I've been asked how many years I've done in prison, and I've never been in the back of a cop car. So and it's all right. I knew that going into it, so it's no big deal. I know who I am, and the people that know me know what kind of person I am, so I'm okay with that. I actually kind of like it that, you know, I've actually probably got more schooling than 80% of the people who judge me, so that's fine with me.
Yeah, I mean, your Chihuahua reference earlier, you just got to tell them, man, I'm not bad. I ain't bad, but the bad don't mess with me.
Exactly. You know, don't take my kindness for weakness.
Yeah.
But that's why I got all these tattoos. So maybe somebody wouldn't mess with me because I don't want to get beat up, you know, or picked on. So that's why I got all these tattoos.
I got a half sleeve too, but it goes to my, you know, from my shoulder to my elbow. And the reason I stopped it there is because the service at the time wouldn't allow you to have tattoos on your forearms or your hands. So I didn't want it to affect my job. Again, it's one of those things, you know, I got to live. I gotta conform to society to do what I want to do in society. So
of course, yeah, and that's
kind of ridiculous.
I started my half sleeves, and then my mom told me, she goes, I don't want no skulls and crossbones on you, and I don't want no tattoos below the elbow. So I went out and got a skull right below my elbow, and that's what started below the elbow. I was, you know, in the rebellious stage. But I still don't regret it. It's all right. I think I've got 37, maybe 35, 36, 37 tattoos.
That's a fair amount.
Yeah.
I kind of piecemealed mine for a little bit, and then I kind of did like a mural thing all on the outside. And then once I got it, I was like, I think I'm good.
Yeah, and I got most of mine when I still lived at home with my mom. You know, I didn't have no bills, didn't have no overhead. So, and I loved them. You remember Kirkendall? I think he gave me 2 tattoos. Drunken party one night. I thought it'd be a good idea to go buy a tattoo machine and take it to a party. So we all got tattoos that night.
My brother didn't have any tattoos, and he got 2 of his when he was in jail.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, why are you going? I mean, if you're gonna get tattoos, you know, get them professionally.
Yeah, and that's when that guy asked me how many years in prison I'd done. I said, "Damn, my tattoos look like shit." If he asked me how many years I've done,
yeah, you should call Kirkendall up right then and there. Like, yeah, you know, people think I'm in prison because of you.
Well, it was you remember Garrett Wright, Kirkendall, and Chris Clayton and Steven Sanchez and all of them. We all got stickman on our knee, and we was the stickman clan.
Oh,
and, yeah. I think Dylan Grider done it, and a few others done it, but yeah.
I never, man. The only time somebody asked me to get something like, you know, somebody else was right when I joined the service. I was going, you do basic training, and then you go and get trained on your job, whatever your military occupational specialty. That's what the service wants to call it. It's a fancy name for job.
Right.
Whatever you're going to get your job in, right? So I was in job training, and me and these other 2 dudes clicked pretty good, and we always hung out all the time. Well, one dude's name was Smith Wilson, the other dude's name was Ince, and my name was Bells. That was our last names. So they came up with this term called SWIB. That was our initials. Dude, the Ince guy wanted us to go get SWIB tattooed in our gum line on our lip. I said, bro, I'm not doing that. Like, you're crazy. I'm not doing that.
I think Drew Boyd got that tattoo on his lip. I think it said "sit here" or something. Yeah,
I wouldn't doubt it, man. That dude's crazy.
Oh yeah, Drew. He's funny.
Who I know people, you know, kind of as you get older, you have responsibilities and family, and you know, everybody gets busy and stuff. But who do you kind of hang out with, you know, more than other people? I guess I would say.
Probably I hang out with Stratton Roden. You remember him?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm actually working on his blazer. Me and him's building it right now, but that's probably who me and him and his wife and my wife, we pretty much hang out every weekend, every other weekend at least. But as far as from high school, man, nobody really. I mean, it's crazy how you kind of just dissipate. I mean, it's, you think you never would, but it happens.
Yeah, like I said, man, you grow up, you get family and responsibility, and there's only so many hours in the day. I got to go to work, I got to come home, I got to cook, I got to clean, I got to do this and got to do that. And by the time you do all that, man, the day's over, and it's just hard
Yeah.
to it's hard to spend time and stay connected. And again, you know, I hate to come back on it, but that's the reason that I decided to do this was like,
Right.
I want to keep up with people. You know, social media is great, but it's become a hindrance in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And yeah, I could see you post and do stuff from now, you know, every now and then, but I don't get that interaction. I don't get that personable interaction between people
Yeah.
anymore. And I wanted to be able to catch up with people in this fashion.
Yeah, man, there ain't nothing wrong with that, man. I like what you're doing. Like I said, I'm looking forward to more videos in the future. See who else you get a hold of that I ain't seen in years.
Yeah, man. I wanted to do it videos so I could see everybody's beautiful faces at the same time.
Oh well, talking to me.
I think I mean, I still look older than you. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I'm about to hit the 30s, man, and I feel every year of it.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I was pretty good up until about 4 years ago. 4 years ago, I hurt my back pretty bad, and ever since then, man, it's like I never really got over it. It still bothers
Yeah,
me.
yeah, it's another reason why I want to work for myself, because I mean I'm 29 and I'm hurting, so I can imagine how about I'm gonna hurt at 39 or even 49. I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna go.
I can't understand it, man. I try to stretch. Like I spend like 30, 45 minutes a day stretching, and it just
Yeah.
doesn't seem to help.
No, dude. I mean, I have to hold my breath, tie my boots, and that's about the extent of my stretch. And some mornings I wonder if I should wake my wife up to help me tie my boots. You know, it's just not because my belly's in the way. I'm just like, man, I'm hurting. I'm sore. I wake up, I'm just exhausted.
Yeah, mine's just like I said, man. It's been my back for the last 4 years. Been like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
I've had evenings where I laid in the floor for 4 hours and didn't move,
Right.
and I'm just like, I don't know if I need to go to the hospital or what, but I don't know, man. It's weird. It's like I can move, it just hurts all the time for some.
Yeah. And it's like you get hurt, like you can go pick up 200 pounds worth of something and throw it in a truck and then be fine. But, you reach in the cabinet, grab a toothpick and throw it in your mouth the wrong way and your back's tweaked. It's just crazy how it works.
Dude, I did it. I'm telling you, man. Somebody's gonna make fun of me, but whatever. It's the truth.
Yeah.
I hit my garage door, my tractor, like a week ago, and I was standing out front of it, trying to figure out how I was gonna fix it. And I grabbed this piece of 2x4 I had and thought I could just pry it and kind of pop it back into place. But I ended up taking the track out of the garage door and then popping the garage door back in the track. But anyways, I had the 2x4 and I was just staring at it, and I just got madder and madder as I was looking at the garage door. And I went to throw the 2x4 down, and I don't even know how, man, but I hurt my thumb. And I'm like, I can't even get mad at something without getting hurt.
Yeah, man. That's how it is with us, because the twins, they're mobile now, so they'll get out of bed in the middle of the night and come sneak in our bed. Well, somehow they get in bed and I'll never realize it. And I wake up and I'm just shaped like, the letter S. And how do I bend like that? And like I said, it takes me a few minutes to pop all my bones and all that. But I'm like, man, yeah, this sucks.
Well, man, I don't know how long we've been on here. I don't want to keep you forever. I appreciate it, dude. Like you said, I reached out to you and you said, let's do the dang thing. So here we are. And I thank you for getting on. And like I said, man, once you get your page and everything set, man, hit me up with it. And I'll put it in the description of this and put it on a couple things. And And
Yeah, man. I have to mail you some stickers or something. Slap them on the back of your truck or whatever you want to put them on.
yeah, man, I got a truck.
I
I'll slap
lifted
it on there.
trucks. You got a big old lifted truck?
Yeah.
Yeah, see. Yeah, you're part of that.
I didn't. So I didn't want to go the stereotype. The first truck, the first like real vehicle I got that was new, I bought a Honda Ridgeline.
Yeah.
And do you know Chris Chapman?
Yeah.
Well, I had a Honda Ridgeline. So a Honda Ridgeline's a unibody vehicle.
Yeah.
And it's a mid-sized truck and whatnot, but it's still four-wheel drive. So I had a regular, just plain Jane truck. And we were watching, I think we were watching a pay-per-view fight at Corey Martin's house, and Chris Chapman had came over there to watch it. It was pouring down rain. He had made fun of my truck a few times, and he went to leave, and his van slid down the side of the hill and was stuck in the mud. So he was like, my truck was brand new, dude. I probably had it 2 months. And he was like, hey, man, you think you could hook a chain to your truck and pull me out? I said, hook a chain to my truck, dude. I just paid $30,000 for this truck.
Yeah.
And anyways, I hooked the chain and I pulled him straight out. The tire didn't spin or nothing. And he was like, man, I guess I got to stop making fun of your truck because it pulled mine out of off the side of the hill. And I had that truck for a while, man. And then I always liked the kind of the body style of like a GMC.
Yeah.
And I finally traded that one in. I got me a GMC truck, and I just went ahead and got it lifted because they had a good deal on it straight from the factory.
Yeah. Yeah, you should find you a pretty attractive male in a Chevrolet. You know, I'm a Ford man, so.
Yeah, my dad's always liked Fords, man. The reason I didn't get a Ford is the resale value.
Really? I figured they'd been about the same.
Resale value on the Fords for some reason depreciated more.
Really?
Plus the truck itself was more money. And I'm like, hey man, I want certain things. This truck has certain things. And I just kind of, again, I just used my random, dumb redneck common sense thing and looked at what am I getting for the money I'm spending, and did my benefits to risk, my cost analysis in my head, and said GMC is a better deal. So
I can't blame you there. To each his own. I get it.
got nothing against Fords. My dad loves them. He still drives a 72 Ford pickup, dude.
Yep. I got a little Ford Ranger. I drive it every day. 30 mile a gallon, cheap, and I don't care what happens to it.
Yep. But like I said, man, I'm holding you up. I appreciate it, brother. I hate it took a decade for us to catch up like we should, but it's just
at least we're both here to make it happen. That's the only thing that counts.
Yeah, man. If somebody made it this far, you're friends of myself or Kyle. Dude, I'm losing my train of thought. If you're one of our, if you're friends of ours, freaking hit us up, man. If it's been a while, just contact us, say what's up, show us some love, comment on the video, make fun of us, do whatever you got to do. I appreciate you tuning in. I appreciate you, man, taking the time. I wish the best for you and your family. I wish the best for your adventures. I hope your side job turns into what you want it to be, and you get to do what you love every day. And
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity, man. Appreciate the invite, and maybe we'll do it again. Maybe do a yearly update or something. Maybe.
Yeah, we'll do it again too, man. One thing I want to try to get to. And I don't know how many people I can do it with because I think it'll be chaos, but I want to start like a monthly thing called BSing with the boys.
Yeah.
I just get a couple of dudes on there. Everybody brings like their own unique drink, and you just have a few drinks, talk a little shit, and have a little fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man, I'm cool with that. Just let me know.
Yeah, brother. Take care. And keep supporting Tennessee from the state of Georgia.
Yeah, it's our year, I guess. We'll see.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later.
Hey, man, it's good talking to you, buddy. See you.
Man. Stay safe.
You too, buddy. See you.